The U.S. Commissioner William Torrey Harris in 1877 stated, "If we do not Americanize our immigrants by luring them to participate in our best civilization, they will contribute to the degeneration of our political body and thus de-Americanize and destroy our national life." Harris reinforces the notion that part of living in America means an immigrant must change whom they are to fit into society before gaining the perks of that society. But I ask, what do we really gain when we toss out who we are and what we've been accustomed to in order to better ourselves? My educational encounter occurred shortly after immigrating to the United States from South America. Similar to many immigrants, my parents viewed America as a land of opportunities, a place where education revealed endless possibilities. They believed in the American dream, defined as a set of traditional ideals in the U.S. with regard to equality, democracy, and material objects. Yet, education, thought to be the great equalizer, wasn't my destined truth. Lured into a system that hindered my learning abilities, I was only focused on fitting in. I changed myself accordingly, but it was bothersome for people to still view me as an outsider. I used this label, however, as my ticket through the educational system. It began with my enrollment into PS108K, located in Brooklyn, New York. All I remember seeing was a big, brightly lit red building, and upon my entrance, Miss Hahn, the principal of the school, recreated the social hierarchy that exists in education. With little regard to my prior education, she deemed that I would repeat the second grade. According to Oakes, Ms. Hahn's decision revealed the process of tracking, where teachers or administrators estimated what students have already learned or their potential for learning to determine how they are identified and placed in the educational system. Not only was I separated based on my abilities to learn or play catch-up with the rest of my soon-to-be peers, but I was also never given the chance to prove I possessed the capabilities as my American counterparts. I reminisced and wished that the days would return when I skipped with joy as my braids wrapped in navy ribbon danced behind my shoulders, and the copious amounts of starch used to iron my yellow shirt, navy dress, and bow tie restrained them from being excited with me. I knew that with no time the salty tears that touched my lips would return, and the feeling of my feet being like cement bricks on this gum-stained sidewalk would also return. But I didn't want that. I didn't want to carry that stupid pink lunchbox into that school any longer. In order to fit in after immigrating, assimilation was necessary as deemed by the new society I found myself in. Through assimilation, or rather Americanization, I was exposed to isolation, ignorance, inspiration, and how my differences can be viewed as deviant and abnormal. I sat in a class with peers that were there for the same reason as me, to learn, but they didn't understand me. I distinctly remember feeling isolated when I removed my blue pencil box from my book bag, and it was adorned with pictures of my mom, dad, and sister. My peers didn't understand why I did this and asked me if these people in my family had passed away. However, isolation was of no comparison to the ignorance I faced after my friends recognized swastikas on my notebooks and folders. As a Hindu, the swastika represents health, wealth, and prosperity, but in the eyes of American society, it represented violence and hatred. On many occasions, I was embarrassed because I was different. So I realized I made my school days routine. I wouldn't speak about anything that made me different from my group of friends, and when I did, I would immediately stop and think about how I could say something else. I confined to the norm of American society and assimilated in order to ensure my success in school. I thus became a product of what was around me as opposed to being different, being myself. By means of assimilation, however, I found a friend and inspiration in my second grade teacher, Miss Belen. She respected me in the same way I respected her, and we were able to share a reciprocal relationship. She not only offered me constructive criticism, but she also worked with me at my pace. According to Dr. Wang, when we are viewed as deviant or abnormal, We sometimes become a part of a production line that reflects and reproduces a mandate in society. My mandate became to not show who I really was, and a way to cope with being noticed for being different was to become a part of a routine. So what have I gained by tossing out who I was to become something that I wasn't? I gained that yes, I am an outsider. And I gained that my American dream is to accept what I've lost in the process and to honor my differences that had helped me conquer assimilation. Assimilation as a part of my educational system has been the key to my academic success because I didn't let it overpower my differences.